All right. So let's see. We got Mew, I believe, up against the Arceus Box deck. You appreciate the 100 bits there, Drew. So there's something up with your mic. It keeps cycling a feedback. Wait, actually, is there something wrong with my mic? You appreciate the follow there, Salmon. Is there actually something wrong with my mic? I think that might just be you, Inert. Just refresh the page. All right, here we go. Mew against Arceus Inteleon with something. I don't know what else. The hand looks pretty solid here for Fabrizio. Has an Ultra Ball, has a Cramomatic, and then did open up the Meloetta. But you want to look for like Boss KO on... You want to look for that Boss KO on the Arceus turn 2 here from Fabrizio usually. There's a Quick Ball lining up the Mew. Chose to Quick Ball away the Cramomatic actually. So Arceus player has Arceus V, Moltres, Sobble, Ultra Ball, Bidoof, and something else. So like 5 and Zigzagoon. So 5 basic surprise here for the for the Arceus Inteleon player. Ultra Ball happening as well, getting rid of the phone and the whatever that's called, a tablet. Usually you don't need all your tablets. No extensive prize checking there from Fabrizio, it didn't look like, so I don't think they're for sure gonna know what's prized. And let's see what that last card in their hand is as well. Not quite sure what that is, but they'll have at least a Genesect for 3 here. I'm pretty sure there's just 1 card left in the hand. And they have 2 Genesect setups, so ideally some more after that. Switch into the Mew. Okay, so yeah, Genesect for 5 here, or for 4. I see DTE, which is a great attachment. There's, okay, Cramomatic probably away the Ultra Ball and hold the tablet, I would assume is what we're going to see here. They might ditch the tablet. Oh no, that's a tower. Okay, not a tablet. I thought it was a tablet. It's a tower. So Fabrizio is playing the Tower of Darkness build. Yeah, there's 3 Tower of Darkness stacked up on the bottom of the deck. Here comes the Battle VIP Pass. Question at this point is declump or nah? See the Battle VIP Pass, Mew and Genesect. We're setting up super well from Fabrizio turn 1. We'll see the DTE on the benched Mew, and then I'm sure next Genesect draw. You want to get down that turn 1 energy, whether it be a Fusion Strike energy on a Meloetta or a DTE on a Mew. One of the 2 here when you go first. And the DTE on the Mew is just fine. I don't know if... Oh, they actually don't even attach the DTE. Whoa, wait, what? Why not attach the DTE? What are we scared of? Why are we not attaching DTE to Mew here? That's curious to me from... Maybe they really want to try and find a Fusion Strike energy, but that doesn't make a whole ton of sense to me. DT on Mew is what you want, because you want to go turn 2 Boss KO. So chooses to hold on to the stadium. So they are playing around Path to the Peak here. Not attaching... They just, like, drew 1 less card for no reason, though, I'm pretty sure there. Yeah, they just drew 1 less card for no reason. I don't know why. They got the boss. They got the tablet. Like, I don't know why you're not putting DT down. You're always chasing. Maybe they don't know what they're up against. But they should have some idea what they're up against here. They are playing around Path to the Peak. I'm not sure if Pedro plays Path to the Peak. To be honest, I think it's possible Pedro doesn't. I'm not. We saw Pedro in an earlier round, but I forget exactly what they're running. It's definitely Arceus and Inteleon, but I don't know what else they have besides that. They definitely have Arceus and Inteleon. At the very least, though, they definitely have Arceus and Inteleon. And with this energy search, they're unfortunately going to see that they prized a lot of their Pokemon. They might go for a keep calling here. Imagine the Arceus at this point just kind of feels... It doesn't feel great to, but you usually have to do it. And we'll probably see that. Quick Ball away the dark energy. Let's see if they grab that Arceus here or not. Asks how many cards are in hand. Ian Rob style Arceus. All right, so it's like the 2/2 Arceus, Baby Moltres, Moltres V, Zapdos V. There it is. There's the Arceus. I'm sure there's an energy in hand to attach there as well because they quick walled away the other one. Oh, opting for the keep calling instead. I don't hate it though. And no supporter or anything. Just keep calling after that. Okay, so for Fabrizio, probably just going to look for that boss KO on the Arceus. And then for Pedro back on the other side, you're probably looking for that Moltres V return knockout and then go into Baby Moltres from there. Did prize a Sobble, though. So only double Sobbles here. I'm curious if Fabrizio does go with something like... You could go with Psychic Leap here. Mew VMAX Psychic Leap into the Meloetta. And KO a Sobble. Because then you can't be hit by the Arceus. But then they get to evolve the Arceus, and it becomes a lot harder to knock out later on, and they would get access to the Starburst. So you probably just have to go boss KO Arceus here. But you probably can't afford to not do that, I don't think. Yeah, there's the boss on the Arceus. As that stadium, and I think at this point, Fabrizio's still holding on to that stadium. I think at this point as Fabrizio, you should know... you don't know for sure, I guess. Fabrizio's still heavily playing around Path to the Peak. I guess that's fine. Maybe they'll get enough info this game to then switch it up into game 2. I don't think Pedro plays any Path to the Peak, though. Fabrizio's still very heavily playing around Path to the Peak. Because you don't really care... Fabrizio's not trying to save it as a counter. Like, you play four Power of Darkness. You just want to draw the extra cards here if you know they're not playing Path to the Peak. But Fabrizio's still very much playing around Path to the Peak, which is, like, fine. Like, you do want to be careful. Yeah, I think there's no Path to the Peak in Pedro's deck. There might be one, but I'm pretty sure it's 0. Fabrizio just trying to play safe, though. Ooh, a Judge. All right, I like... Oh, and a Tool Jammer. All right, so Fabrizio has some spice here. A Judge and a Tool Jammer. So Judge is really good against decks like the one that Pedro's playing here. Because you kind of disrupt their hand. So the Judge is super cool. The Tool Jammer, I'm trying to think about when that actually comes into... What are you trying to stop with Tool Jammer? Yeah, I like the Fusion Strike energy there on the Meloetta. Marnie better than Judge? It depends a little bit. But I think on average Marnie would be better, to be honest. I'm not sure. Judge disrupting Rotom like isn't relevant though. I don't think. Judge disrupting Rotom just is not relevant. I'm pretty sure what's it called is always just better. Choice Band maybe? I guess. I just don't see where I'm just trying to think about when Tool Jammer comes into play. You could put it on your Mew to stop opponents' Mew VMAXs from 1-hit KO on your Mew VMAX, I guess. That would be kind of the play. I'm not a huge fan of the Jammer. I like the Judge, though. Because it stops all these decks that kind of sit on their hand and just build up their hand. They just kind of sit on their hand the whole game. And then just like keep attacking and like setting up all the plays they want to do, and then you can judge them. But I think Marnie is just better. Because then it puts all the cards that they kind of been building up on the bottom of the deck instead. So I think Marnie is just better. Because like that's the way that it works. Like all these decks against Mew know you don't play hand disruption, so they sit there and just kind of build up their hand and build up all these situations, and then you can just be like, all right, Marnie. But I'm sure they have a reason why they like the Judge over the Marnie for sure. I'm sure they have a reason. What is the reason? I have no clue. But I would bet they have a reason why they prefer the Judge over the Marnie. I guess the one reason I could see playing Judge is it would shuffle your stadiums back into the deck. It shuffles your stadiums back into the deck instead of putting them on the bottom of the deck up against Path to the Peak decks, I guess, is the only thing I can think of. But I don't think it's like super relevant. I'm not sure. Probably to shuffle the top deck from Switching Cups. They definitely don't play Switching Cups if they're playing all this other stuff. They don't play Switching Cups, I don't think. I could be wrong, but I would bet Fabrizio does not have Switching Cups. You can path plus judge. Yeah, but Fabrizio's playing Mew. Fabrizio, I would once again bet they don't play. I would once again bet Fabrizio does not play Path to the Peak. Maybe for the mirror? No, it doesn't do anything in the mirror either. Because like it's just not relevant. Like in the mirror, it's just not relevant to like disrupt their Rotom phone. It's just not a relevant play. It's not relevant at all. Because most of the time, if they're Rotom phoning, they're taking the card. If they're not Rotom phoning, they usually never end their turn with a Rotom phone in the mirror. You either hold the Rotom phone or what's it called? Yeah, the Mew player is the one with the judge. All right, choice belt, but this still doesn't get the KO, right? Prize card's gone plus choice belt. Yeah, this is not get the KO. So they're only doing. I mean, even without the DTE, they don't even get the KO. I don't know why they choice belted here. Did they think they had the knock? I think they thought they had the knockout. But even without yeah, this was just you were never getting the knockout here. I don't know why they did that. I think they maybe thought they were hitting for 300. I think they maybe forgot about DTE, thought they were hitting for 300, and then because it has a DTE, they could quick shooting it later. I think that's what they thought was going on here. I think that's what they thought was going to happen. Okay, so Fabrizio does play the Echoing Horn. Has the Sparkle. So they can go knock out the active. They got some plays here from Fabrizio. You can go knock out active, knock out something else. And then, they end up putting the Fusion Strike energy on the active. I think they're thinking about protecting it from quick shooting. I don't know if that really makes it. Like, they need 3 quick shootings on that Mew, though. I guess they could get there, but it's pretty unlikely. I think it's pretty unlikely. We'll see what they got here. Yeah, if they go attack with Meloetta, attack with Mew, and if the Mew VMAX gets boss KO'd, then you just go attack with yeah. So I think they're just playing around too many quick shootings ending up on that Mew. I don't hate it. Feels like it's not gonna happen, but I don't hate it for sure. All right, dig a little bit deeper here for Fabrizio. Looks like they're gonna get that Tower of Darkness, so they're just gonna be able to draw into that off the Genesect and then draw more off that Tower of Darkness with the Tower of Darkness. The rest of the hand did not look great. The rest of the hand did not look great. So I think they have. Oh, they can't even Genesect. Could they have They couldn't have Genesected there. Okay. So the hand a little bit stuck there for Fabrizio. But there's the Meloetta KO. So now next turn. So Pedro here has to use Clara and get the Arceus out of the discard pile. This turn. So they have to use Clara and get Arceus out of the discard pile. If not, Fabrizio's going to put it back into play and then KO at this turn. Evolution Incense. Not sure if that was the top deck or in the hand. But they're gonna have. They can get the Clara here, but they also need to attack and knock out this Meloetta. So they can't. They also have to take a knockout. So Fabrizio needs to get the Arceus out of the discard pile, and they also need to take a knockout this turn. If they don't do either of those, they probably lose this game at this point. We'll see. Shady Dealings. Let's see what they line up. They only have a 1-card hand, though, so it feels pretty unlikely that they'll be able to put a really big play together. I mean, Air Balloon plus Clara, if they have an energy in hand, would do it. No, they go with the Research. They got a Pal Pad, but it's looking really good for Fabrizio. The Echoing Horn is in the hand. Oh, Clara was in the discard pile, but they probably run 2. They might run 1 if they just run the Pal Pad, though. They might not have 2 Clara. A fresh 7 off that Research. Can they find a way to get a KO here? They need to get the KO here on this Meloetta. Here comes a level ball, ideally with a Hoopa. If they play the Hoopa, they might not play the Hoopa though. I think they actually probably don't play the Hoopa, to be honest. Yeah, Yeah, I think they probably don't play the Hoopa. They could play the Hoopa, though. They could play the Hoopa. Could also concede. I don't want to see that, though. I want to see a little bit more game out of here. They have the Zapdos in hand, so if they could get the fighting energy, but you really can't afford to attack with Zapdos here. Calls away the Arceus. Oh, they have the Hoopa. Okay. Another Shady Dealings going down. Can they do that, Dealings? Yeah, they can do that, Dealings. Did one of these Sobbles freshly come into play? Training Court. Be able to get the Dark Energy to the discard pile. Okay, they're cooking. All right, I think Fabrizio should know at this point that there's probably no Path to the Peak in Pedro's list, so they'll be able to play a little bit more aggressively next game. But yeah, Fabrizio still is in the lead here for sure. Here comes the Hoop knockout, but Fabrizio just needs... Yeah, they checked the... Fabrizio was like, it's in there, right? All right, cool. Now, Fabrizio does want to KO they want to Echoing Horn this turn, because next turn Pedro could play the Clara and take away that option. So Fabrizio needs to Echoing Horn this turn and get the KO. They have the boss, they have the Echoing Horn, so they are a modifier short from the KO. They have the Choice Belt, they have the knockout. That's it. It's done. Choice Belt's coming down, the Echoing Horn, the boss. So now they see a setup their following turn. The Mew will probably get knocked out on the next turn, which means Fabrizio has to play for just Mew DTE. Should close this game out on the next turn. Oh, put this at the top of the stack. There's the Echoing Horn. Here comes the boss. Up the Arceus. And then try and find themselves into... They need to get another DT and another Mew. They need to get another DT and another Mew. Couple cards there. They could still whiff at this point. There's the Mew. They got a Rotom Phone in hand as well, which should be able to free up the hand if it is a little bit clogged. They're just going to go with the Genesect for one before the Rotom Phone. I would have hated to see Rotom Phone there first, to be honest, to try and find a Quick Ball or an Ultra Ball. They do find themselves a Quick Ball now. They have one Genesect left to draw with, and they could actually even just grab fourth Genesect and throw that in play and just have maximum draw power at this point, but they definitely probably want to get something. Yeah, there's the Genesect grab. These are the situations where you want to go with that quad Genesect, when you're just looking to close out the game on the next turn with your last, like, Mew DTE. Or Genesect, full bench again. Just chilling with the phone. At this point, I like chilling with the phone, I think. I think I'm able to use it to, what's it called before, though. Maybe they hit the Quick Ball in hand? They got the DTE now. They got the boss. They have an Ultra Ball. Yeah, DTE to Mew. Boss in hand. And to be honest, I wouldn't hate to see Pedro just kind of concede here. Because the attack is coming out with this Mew. Techno Blast for the KO. And then we'll see the same thing next turn. Maybe stick it around for a turn as Pedro if you could, like, boss trap a Genesect, if you think you could pull that off. And then, yeah, Techno Blast KO. Down to one prize card for Fabrizio. And I think has plenty of options left. I think they have switches left. I think they have another DTE left. Like, they have the boss in hand. Hoopa can get the KO on the Mew here, but you can't attack with Hoopa because then you just lose the game. The only play I can see here from Pedro is, like, boss trapping Genesect, but I think there's plenty of switch cards left for Fabrizio. I think there's literally an escape rope in the hand. I mean, there's a Marnie play. So Pedro at this point is just playing the game to play the game, I guess. I can't think... I guess Pedro does have Giant or Cape of Toughness left. Yeah, I think Pedro does have Cape of Toughness left, so they could theoretically send something at the active that doesn't get KO'd this turn, but I don't think that matters. I guess maybe if they do play a one of Path to the Peak, we could see a play from Pedro where they go, like, send him something that can't be KO'd plus Path to the Peak. I could see that. But definitely not a good spot here for Pedro. All right, finally recovers their deck. We see a Stadium in the hand for Fabrizio, so even if there is a Path to the Peak to try and shut things down here from Pedro, and it's always it's always fine to just be like, all right, knockout, and then just hope your opponent misplays, right? It's always fine to do that. So there's the Moltres. Moltres currently does not get knocked out, and there's the Energy Excel. Oh, there's the E-Switch. Oh my gosh, they hit E-Switch and Cape here. No shot. Insane. What a crazy draw. Holy moly. What? They just literally drew everything. They had a play. They drew into it. Now, it's still very likely that Fabrizio does win this game. They got 4 Genesects to work with. Genesect number 1 happening, only for 2, though. So it's a slow draw to start. I think I see a Cramomatic, though, so this will get things moving a little bit out of the hand. And the heads here would just be game. There's the heads. Okay, here comes the boss. We know what's in the deck here for Fabrizio. There's the concede from Pedro. Okay, that was a crazy draw. It was unlikely to make a difference, though, to be honest. And they have plenty of time. They probably have like a 60 or 75 minute top 8. So I don't hate taking that. Like, if Pedro knew there was a play, and there's a chance that Fabrizio whiffs, and then Pedro goes boss, KO something off the bench, win the game next turn. So I don't mind seeing Pedro stick it out for that turn. All right. Game 1 over to Mew. Like I said, when it's played well, this matchup's not that bad for Mew. And we saw Fabrizio play pretty well that game, right? Like, Fabrizio played well. Obviously, Pedro didn't draw the best, but one of these decks is more consistent than the other, and that is Mew is more consistent than Arceus deck, right? Overall. Like, especially when you go first as Mew, you take away their Arceus, their turn 2 is not going to be as clean, right? So we saw there for sure. Now we'll get to see Pedro go first, though. But still, you get to go first, and you can set up a little bit better for that turn 2 Arceus, but you also need some basic Pokemon to protect your Arceus, right? You need some basic Pokemon to protect your Arceus. If you open Arceus and that's it, or you have Arceus on the bench with a Sobble in the active, your Arceus can go down turn 1, and then you didn't get to use Keep Calling on your initial turn. Your opponent's ahead on the prize trade, and things can really start to fall apart, to be honest. So we'll see. We'll see how this opening looks for Pedro. That's kind of how Mew has like a close matchup with this matchup. It's not that Mew doesn't really beat the deck when it sets up and draws well, but there's such a high percentage of games where Mew just out-aggresses the deck before it can set up, or cheeses them with like donks. That's kind of how Fabrizio, or not Fabrizio, but that's how Mew gets this matchup to close to a 50-50, is you just kind of cheese them. Pretty bad hand here for Fabrizio. A lot of boss in the hand. So gonna have to give him quite a few boss here in this initial draw here, I think, from Fabrizio. It's like there's an Ultra Ball, a Quick Ball, 2 boss, 2 tower. I think we'll see Fabrizio play a little bit less conservative with the stadiums this game. Should know. Triple Cram prize. That could actually be huge. And a Fusion Strike Energy. That can always be a big deal. The E-Switch is prized, and the Choice Belt for Pedro. Has one of the Arceus in the deck, though. So Triple Cram could get with some really awkward stuck hands now for Fabrizio. Also, just can't get those heads to, like, just get your whatever card you wanted, right? So, definitely poor prize cards there, I think, overall for Fabrizio. The Triple Cram, and then, of course, any Fusion Strike Energy being prized, that can always affect games. So, could see that impact as soon as turn 1 here for Fabrizio. Energy Search coming out for Pedro. Nothing super important prize for Pedro. Fabrizio, like, it's not even that big of a deal that stuff's prize for Fabrizio, to be honest, but it is still a thing. Ultra Ball coming down. I think I see a Quick Ball as well in the hand there for Pedro, so Pedro can protect the Arceus here. And I think with this kind of opening hand from Fabrizio, where you are, like, discarding 2 boss off the rip, you just want to be really aggressive as Fabrizio. I think we'll probably see both of these boss get discarded, unless Fabrizio takes, like, a slower route and plays a little bit slower and goes, like, attached to Mew pass. We could see that as well from Fabrizio, but you probably want that turn 1 knockout. The question is, does Pedro have another basic Pokemon? I think Pedro does. I think there is a Quick Ball in that hand, but they did shuffle their deck. They don't. So this is what I was talking about. I think we'll see. Was that another boss off the top? No way, right? I think we'll see Fabrizio play a little bit more aggressive. Debating holding the stadium. Maybe they should have actually stadiumed the stadium first here. I actually think that might be a mistake here from Fabrizio. I think they should have Tower of Darkness away a Tower of Darkness off the rip here to get more outs to get basic Pokemon. Gonna do a quick prize check. We'll see that one of the Fusion Strike Energy is prized. Might make it a little bit more difficult to actually get the KO here. And then Triple Cramomatic also prized. I don't know if they'll see that. But yeah, a little bit of spice in Fabrizio's list as well. They got that Tool Jammer. And what was the other card that was kind of... The Judge. The Judge is also super spicy. And this is the kind of matchup where you want the Judge. This is the matchup for the Judge. Right here, because this Inteleon deck from Pedro, once you like use that first research or just build up into a decent sized hand, you can just sit on that hand the rest of the game and just chain Inteleon stuff. And because you're attacking with Moltres, the Mew player has to KO the Moltres. You just can't leave Moltres around, pretty much ever. So you don't get to go chase Inteleon pieces ever. They're gonna stadium. They might not stadium away the stadium though. We could still see. No, they do. So that's why I thought they should have done that first. I think it was a mistake there from Fabrizio to not stadium away stadium. That should have been the first thing for Fabrizio. They got the Fusion Strike Energy and the Sparkle in the hand as well. Sheesh. And they got the Battle VIP pass. What the heck? What a draw from Fabrizio. They had the Fusion Strike Energy and the Sparkle. Was that off the tower? Or they had the Fusion Strike Energy in the top deck? I think the Fusion Strike Energy came from the top deck, actually. They got the Sparkle and a Battle VIP pass off the tower, though. That's an absurd draw. Fabrizio's like, hold up, wait, let me just go get everything else. Now they just need to find that escape rope. How many do they play, though? And once again, Cram-O-Matics are in the prize cards. Those are those cards that sometimes you're just like, I need a card. Cram-O-Matic's like, yo, I got you, right? 3 Cram-O-Matic prized, less yo, I got yous around, right? And we could actually even see from Fabrizio, to make sure no shenanigans happen, we could see Fabrizio go get the Oricorio as well if they play it. I haven't seen the Oricorio yet. I think it's possible Fabrizio does not play the Oricorio. Genesect number 1 for 2 has an Ultra Ball to grab another Genesect, and they haven't discarded this boss yet. Another Battle VIP pass and double Ultra Ball boss. So I think you just ditch the whole hand here. I think you're just going all out as Fabrizio. I would even consider putting quad Genesect in play on this turn. Oh, there's the Oricorio. They do run the Oricorio. I would consider putting quad Genesect in play here as Fabrizio for sure. Just draw cards, you know? And they're doing it. This KO is big. And I would just go all out at this point as Fabrizio, I think. I would just be like, all right. Because you're going down. The biggest thing is you're losing 2 boss, I think. We might not see Fabrizio play this. No, they're just going all in. And because you are losing 2 boss, you have just so many less options as the game develops that you need somewhere to get. You just need to get that initial advantage. And getting this KO on this Arceus is that initial advantage. So I do like this. I do like this just being aggressive from Fabrizio. Just be like, well, I'm just going to give up both these bosses. I'm just going to go get this escape rope. And they still need a damage modifier as well. That'd be funny if they hit the escape rope but with the damage modifier. The thing they probably play 5 or 6 of. I think because they play the Tool Jammer, they probably only play 1 choice belt. Here we go. The first 6, or second Genesect, first 6 draw. 2 more Genesects to work with. There's a phone. That'll always help you dig deeper. There's the Echoing Horn. The last boss's orders in the hand. That is super awkward. 2 quick balls. I would like to see the DTE get discarded here as well, though. Yeah, get rid of the DTE. You have 2 left. You know they're not prized because you checked your deck. The Echoing Horn and the last boss in the hand is super awkward. I feel like you can't give up the boss. I think they're not going to give up either of them, actually. I think this is probably correct. Don't give up either. Once again, still digging for that escape rope. Let's see if they end up using the Rotom Phone first. They could go draw 3 with Genesect and then Rotom Phone afterwards, though. Here we go. Yeah, wants to keep the boss and the Echoing Horn. Echoing Horn, I think, is a little bit less relevant because you're getting this a more aggressive knockout. Gonna Genesect first for 3 and then Rotom Phone as a follow-up. I think this is probably correct. No modifier, no escape rope, as from what I can see. Here comes the Rotom Phone. I see the tablet. Oh, is that the rope? I don't know what that other card was. That might have been the rope. There's a tablet in hand. I don't think they have it. I don't think they got it here. I think Fabrizio whiffs. I think Fabrizio whiffs here. There's the pass. Fabrizio ends up whiffing. So it looks like Fabrizio's still playing around. I think they put a Tower of Darkness on top. I think they're still playing around Paths of the Peak here. They have a 5-card hand, so they could have drawn cards there. So I think Fabrizio is still playing around Paths of the Peak here. Put a Tower of Darkness on top. And there's the whiff. That is a huge whiff here from Fabrizio. Now, the Choice Belt is prized for Pedro. So Pedro can't get as big of an advantage as they'd like here. They're not going to be able to KO this Genesect. That's a huge deal. Pedro might play 2 Choice Belts, actually. But most let's just play the 1. And it's also possible Pedro whiffs the... You know, looks like they have an Ultra Ball. Did they whiff the Arceus? Oh, no. Back-to-back huge whiffs. I don't see an Ultra Ball. No, that's an Ultra Ball, right? No, that's a Quick Ball, I think. I think they whiffed. I think they whiffed the Arceus. Quick Ball away the Clara. I have to get a Sobble at this point, I feel like. Maybe you could go for... You could grab the Moltres V and Trinity Charge to it. I wouldn't hate to see that from Pedro, especially with Fabrizio being down 2 boss. Your Moltres V would be pretty safe, I feel like, at that point. So I wouldn't hate to see Pedro do that. Of course, we know that Fabrizio has the last boss in the hand. But as Fabrizio, do you really want to boss that Moltres up? Not really, I don't think. It doesn't feel good to use your last boss that way. Oh, no. Air Balloon. I think they're just going to hit with Hoopa. They could have gone with like a Trinity Charge to a Moltres V. I wouldn't have hated to see that, to be honest, for the situation. Oh, I think they're thinking about using Keep Calling here. Yeah, hitting Genesect for 90 damage doesn't feel that good, to be honest. I think Keep Calling here looks a little bit better. Keep around the Hoopa as an option to KO the Meloetta. Yeah, definitely go with the keep calling. I was thinking about the Hoopa initially, but I was like, that never makes any sense, right? Hitting Genesect for 90. I wouldn't have hated a Trinity Charge to a Moltres, though, but this is probably quite a bit better, to be honest. I think Pedro's got the better play here for sure. Just, like, load it up and go. Yeah, the reason a Tower of Darkness as 4 Tower of Darkness, or the reason playing 4 Tower of Darkness is good because you can constantly move your Tower of Darkness, whereas with other stadiums, like the other stadiums just get stuck in your hand. Like you play your stadium for turn and then you draw into another stadium, it's just stuck. All right, here we go. Also Sparkle top deck, it looks like for Fabrizio. Oh no, it was a switch. It was a switch, but they chose not to take the knockout on the Hoopa because they didn't want to lose their Fusion Strike energy and their Meloetta. I definitely like that play from Fabrizio. Now we got the boss for the KO on this Arceus. Go Genesect. Yeah, the top deck was the switch. They decided not to draw into it with the Genesect, which is curious though, because then they would have top decked a fresh card. I'm pretty sure they had 5 cards in the last hand, so that doesn't make a whole ton of sense to me. Maybe they, yeah, that doesn't make a whole ton of sense to me at all. But yeah, I like going for the knockout here with the Meloetta. It's still gonna get tough here though. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be close. I mean, I guess you want to attack with Mew VMAX here though, right? Because they can't right now. Pedro couldn't KO the Mew VMAX. I think you want to KO the you want to take the knockout with Mew VMAX here. I feel like as Fabrizio, because Mew VMAX won't get KO'd here, whereas the Meloetta is KO'd by the Hoopa. Here comes the last card. I think this is the last Genesect. Maybe has one more Genesect draw here. Haven't fully been paying attention to that. Can definitely get the KO. I think that's a Rotom Phone in the hand. You can definitely get the KO with the Meloetta, but it just doesn't feel as good to get the KO with the Meloetta here. But it has to be the Meloetta in the end. And Pedro's gonna have the response to this with the Hoopa. So Pedro's fine with this trade-off now that they're this set up for sure. Pedro is fine with this. The way the game is going, Pedro is definitely chill with this. This is gonna be a pretty good spot for Pedro now. Looks really scary off the start. But now this is all good for Pedro. Just gonna go KO Meloetta. Just has to set up for the Moltres from here on out. So that's what Pedro has to look forward to. The Clara is in the discard pile. I had assumed they play 2 Clara, and we know they played the Palpad. But now from here on out, Pedro's going to be looking to just KO with Moltres. Because next turn, Fabrizio, if they want to draw a prize card, Fabrizio has to attack with Mew VMAX. And if they attack with Mew VMAX, the Moltres is coming in and swinging. So what Fabrizio could do here on this next turn is actually Psychic Leap Mew to KO a Sobble. The problem with that becomes, of course, that you're out of boss. That's your last boss. Can you really afford to go down all your boss here? I don't think so. That feels rough. Yes, the Training Court. Look at the Hoopa KO on the Meloetta. They have a Marnie in hand as well. So that's probably going to be their play. Did they just chain Drizzy's there? If not, they're thinking about it. Yeah, we got some Drizzy chaining going on. No, another Drizzy coming down. It's not a chain. I think they'll grab the Palpad here for sure. They want to get that Clara back in the deck. They need that for later. Oh, that looks like a Raihan to me. After they move to the front. Okay, they're switching it up. Now they're taking their time. They don't know what they're doing now. Uh-oh. All right, we're back. We're back. Uh-oh. They end up with a Clara off the Drizzile. Okay, so I think they're just trying to be as safe as possible here and play the Clara now. And they're gonna get that. They're gonna get the Arceus out of the discard pile. Play around the Echoing Horn. But what else are they gonna gain here? This definitely feels like a. Oh, they get the Inteleon. Okay, so this feels pretty good. But they got the Training Court off the other Drizzile, which now feels pretty weird. But I guess they can still utilize the Training Court this turn and maybe even next turn. And take away the Tower of Darkness from Fabrizio. The thing with the Training Court, though, is you actually want to hold onto it as long as possible and force Fabrizio to discard their own stadiums with their stadiums. Oh, they're actually putting the Arceus in play here. Whoa. I don't know about that, right? Maybe it's fine. Feels risky, but maybe the prize trade will still work out for Pedro's favor, I guess, right? You put the Arceus in play. If the Arceus gets chased this turn by Fabrizio, you can fill your bench or Clara again to remove it from your discard pile so it can't be Echoing Horned. Actually, this should probably work out fine for Pedro. I see it initially, I'm just like, yo, chill, but actually I think it'll work out fine. Because Fabrizio basically has to go into Mew VMAX from here on out. And then Pedro can go knockout. The one thing that Fabrizio can possibly do is... no. See, Fabrizio's board state unfortunately has the 4 Genesect. Yeah, this is gonna be rough. There's no more boss. Don't they have 1 boss left? I think Fabrizio has 1 boss left. I could be wrong. Did they already use? Yeah, they only have 1 boss left. Oh, that's what I see what you're saying. They can't go boss, horn, boss. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So do you even boss KO this Arceus? I think you just give him Starbirth if you don't. And then it's probably un-KOable from there on out. I think you have to boss it here. But then, and then come up with some other shenanigans to close out the game from there. I almost feel like you have to boss here as Fabrizio. There's no option for Psychic Leap plays either from Fabrizio, but you're almost out of tablets anyway, so you can't like Psychic Leap KO Moltres. Oh, still has the Judge though. And gonna go with the Judge, so this could be where the Judge this is exactly what the Judge is for, right? You know Pedro has the Inteleon in hand. They set up their hand a little bit. Maybe a slight misplay from Pedro on the last turn, getting that Training Core and then not using it. I think like Pedro saw like 2 different lines of play, and I think was initially gonna play the Marnie, but then saw the Clara line of play, and just get that Inteleon back is super important, so. How is Pedro's hand now? Goes with the Judge instead. I really like that from Fabrizio, actually. This is exactly why the Judge is in the deck for situations like this. There we go. Technoblast for the KO for Fabrizio. There's the Arceus, though, and this is why getting in play also opens up this play. Right now, you got the Starbirth. Should be an easy knockout here for Pedro. Pedro should easily be able to KO this Mew VMAX here. That should be no problem at this point. And I think we're basically looking at a game 3 at this point, unless there's some other tricky plays here from Fabrizio. The Doof gets searched out here for Pedro. And yeah, this should be with access to Starbirth here. I definitely see Pedro taking this one at this point. Just back-to-back Moltres should close this out. I don't see a play where Fabrizio can ever now take advantage of the situation anymore. Here comes that Starbirth. Taking their time thinking about it. All right, here we go. See what they grab. Got the Inteleon, got a Dark Energy. I believe a Moltres is in hand with 2 Dark Energy now as well, so we're gonna probably see a Scoop Up Net. Maybe the Training Court. Yeah, Scoop Up Net for sure. Maybe the Training Court from Pedro here, but has the Moltres KO. So just has to plan for that next turn. How are they gonna get that next 2 prize cards? That's what Pedro has to be thinking about here. Could go with something like a Raihan play and actually start to set up the Arceus. And they do look at the Raihan here. So they could actually set up the Arceus to then go boss KO a Genesect on the following turn. And then you don't even need to use Moltres, theoretically. Raihan here. They are Raihaning the basic energy to the Arceus, though, which means they don't have a DTE. I think it's a mistake here from Pedro, because now how are you going to find that DTE? And we saw even Pedro hesitate there. They might have a DTE in hand. But I think they have to go search a Dark Energy now. So that's definitely a mistake there from Pedro. They could have benched the Moltres, Raihan to the Moltres, search out DTE, attach DTE to Arceus. But now they don't have the DTE, unless it's in the hand. But I didn't think I saw a DTE in the hands. So I think Pedro overthought that play there. I think Pedro saw the correct line of play and they just didn't do it correctly. I think Pedro was gonna do the play that I just said, but then like overthought it and now doesn't have a DTE in play, but could have had a DTE in play. Which opens up a lot of possibilities for sure. There's the net on the Inteleon. Let's see if the Doof or the Sobble comes down. What is Pedro like in here? Catch return. Might need to go with the Bidoof now because you might. Oh, quick ball the Bidoof. But if they just have a Clara in the deck, they should be fine. Oh, or Moltres V should probably set it up as well. I think this also sets it up pretty well here for Pedro. This should also just work. The Moltres V, as long as they have a Dark Energy in the discard pile. And they do. Okay, so this will also set it up here. I like the idea of keeping the option of what's it called open, but this should also basically do the exact same thing. Has the 3 Shady Dealings at least to work with next turn. And yeah, should easily be able to put together a dub here on the next turn from Pedro. I don't even think Fabrizio really has a play. Not that I can think of anyways. Nothing good anyways. There's no good play I can think of here for Fabrizio. Knock out the Moltres and what? It's just over from there, right? There's no way it ever ends up going in Fabrizio's favor, I don't think. Yeah, with 3 prize cards left, I don't see it. Oh, okay, okay. The one thing I do see... No, I don't see anything. Never mind. I was going to say... No, there's no chance. I don't see anything. There's the Sparkle, but the last Fusion Strike Energy, I believe, is still prized. So that's not going to change anything. Yeah, so I believe there's no play here for Fabrizio. Should be too many options on Pedro's side. And we're going to get a game 3 in this one. And I'm curious to see if Fabrizio chooses to go first or go second. I assume we'll choose to go first, because Pedro was also choosing to go first. The first Genesect for 1. On the hunt for that DTE. Probably not going to matter, though. I see a tablet. Oh, the Fusion Strike Energy's in the hand there. I see it there. Jamming up that Jammer to the Genesect, which is weird because you're down your Choice Belt, I think, as Fabrizio. Maybe you're not. Maybe the Choice Belt's still in there. Got an Ultra Ball now. Gonna be able to thin out the hand a little bit. I mean, Fabrizio's game plan is find DTE, hit the active, hope you don't get KO'd, which is literally impossible unless Pedro whiffs. Yeah, there is a Choice Belt left. Okay, I thought it was gone. There's a Choice Belt left, and then Boss KO the Arceus on the next turn. So not likely to anything to happen here. Another thing, though, for Fabrizio, the less time on the clock, the better for Fabrizio. The less time on the clock, the better for Fabrizio. So sitting here and just playing through as many actions as possible, and then hoping that for that slim chance that you have a win condition, just ends up being better for Fabrizio overall. Because, yeah, less time on the clock as the more aggressive deck is usually better. It can work out the other way and it can backfire, but you know, you play for the averages, which would definitely put it in Fabrizio's favor overall. Retreat to Genesect pass. Yeah, could buy you a turn, maybe. Probably not. I think there will be a boss from Pedro on the other side of this. And yeah, Pedro definitely wants to close out this game as soon as possible. We'll probably see Pedro play pretty fast here on this next turn. They know they have it. They're just going to go, boom, Shady Dealings. Go grab themselves a boss. Not even going to take a second trainer card. Boss up to Mew. Attack with Moltres. Because Pedro knows they need that. They want as much time as possible. They need as much time as possible in this last game. The more time, the better for them. They can finish it in a decent amount of time. Or not that much time as well. But definitely would be the one who prefers to have more time on the clock. 20 minutes, right? It could be a 50-minute top cut. Usually they give you 60 to 75. It depends on the tournament organizer, but they definitely could be a 50-minute top cut. 50-minute top 8 is not unheard of, but usually it is 60 to 75. So I would assume at least 60. Pile shuffle. Yeah, if it was for you, Vinny, it probably is for them as well. So we're probably looking at 75-minute top cut. So they have plenty of time left. They have 35 minutes left. Time should not be an issue either way. That wasn't KO. Fabrizio had Oricorio in play. 3 prize cards gone. No, it's still KO. Because they're doing, what's called 340 minus 20, 320. They still knock out on the 3 prize cards taken. I can't do this double-handed spreading for pile shuffling. I keep fucking it up. Well, that's fine, because you shouldn't be pile shuffling anyway, so you're good. Just don't pile shuffle. Or there's no need to pile shuffle. All right, so yeah, plenty of time for game 3, it sounds like. I'm curious to see if Fabrizio chooses first or second. I'm going to assume first. I don't hate the idea of going second in this matchup, though, because like we saw in that second game there, if Fabrizio just hits the escape rope, like, you just run over them really fast, probably. So I don't dislike choosing to go second in this. It doesn't feel bad. Oh, no, the Moltres V is prized here for Pedro. That's a huge swing card in this matchup. I don't think they play 2 of them. Also, a Moltres V prize could hurt as well in the late game, depending on how their Claros play out. The other prize card's not as big of a deal. Yeah, I don't hate going second in this matchup as Fabrizio. It doesn't feel bad, but I don't know if I would choose to go second actively. But it definitely doesn't feel bad. It feels like the games you blow out your opponent are the ones that you actually end up going second in. But usually it's because your opponent chose to go first, not because you actively chose to go second. So, here we go. If they get a basic this time around, another mulligan. So this is going to be really good for Pedro. If Fabrizio did choose to go second, this is a big deal for Pedro to get these extra cards to potentially get more basic Pokemon in play and not have that turn 1 escape rope shenanigans be as impactful, potentially. Yeah, there's 2 baby Moltres, but prizing one can still be annoying depending on if Claras and stuff get discarded. It can just be hard to make a second Moltres sometimes, or even to find the first one to get in the discard pile to Clara combo later or something like that. Okay, that hand, there's a battle VIP pass. I think there's even an escape rope in it. Let's see who's going first in this one. Fabrizio's hand looks really good if you go first. Double Genesect prized and a Meloetta. The Meloetta can be important as well. Actually, these prize cards are pretty rough for Fabrizio. The double Genesect is the biggest thing. Prizing 1 Genesect is fine. No one really cares about 1 Genesect being prized. The hand is pretty good for Fabrizio for going first, though. Has the energy attachment with the backup energy attachment. I end up the Mew and the Genesect. I like getting the Meloetta here, I feel like, a little bit more, personally. I like getting the Meloetta a little bit more, because you want to go, like, double Meloetta. You want to attach, like, a DT to a Mew turn 1, and then you usually want the... I feel like you want the Fusion Strike energy on the Meloetta turn 1, because that opens up the most lines of play. I like grabbing the Meloetta here as Fabrizio, I think, a little bit more than grabbing the, what's it called? Oh, and they agree. It's almost like I'm in their ear. Getting that energy on the Meloetta is super important. It opens up so many outs. So I would actually even like to see the Fusion Strike energy come down to the Meloetta. The only way that gets punished is if they have Boss Hoopa, like, turn 1. So you could go with the DT to be a little bit safer, but it opens up the most lines of play for sure. Another battle VIP pass. Not today. The rest of the hand's a little bit sketch. Not a whole ton going on. Could have seen them burn the tablet, to be honest, and play the Rotom Phone. I wouldn't have hated that. There's that Fusion Strike energy I was talking about. Love to see it. Can play down the whole hand next turn, though, and then draw with Genesect. From Fabrizio, though, I wouldn't have hated to see burn the tablet or Cram-O-Matic the tablet. I guess you're still not drawing a card there, though. Is that 3 cards in hand or 2 cards? It is still 3 cards in hand, so I guess you're not drawing... No, but one of them is the tablet. So you could have gone Cram-O-Matic the tablet and then play the Rotom Phone. I think I like that a little bit better. Sure, you have the tablet guaranteed for next turn, but you definitely want to try and develop your board state and your options for your next turn a little bit better than that, I think. So I don't like that play from Fabrizio, I don't think. I think it would have been a little bit more aggressive. Try and find that next Genesect and go from there. Especially when you check your deck and you see you prized 2 Genesect, you have to be like, well, now my draw, turn to turn, is a lot more important, right? Drawing cards as much as possible each turn is that much more important because you don't have that extra Genesect draw until you start drawing prize cards. So I think from Fabrizio, yeah, I definitely would like to have seen Cram-O-Matic away the tablet and then play the Rotom Phone to try and find a Battle VIP pass or another Genesect or something like that. I think I would have liked to have seen Fabrizio try and dig a little bit deeper here. They do have the play set up in hand, though. They have Boss, DTE, what is this angle, bro? Fabrizio does have Boss, DTE, tablet, so they just need to find that VMAX, and they will be taking this knockout on this Arceus, but their board is way less established to be able to do stuff. So I think Fabrizio could definitely just run into a really bad string of draws next turn. And these are the situations, like hands like this. This is why Rose Tower... This is the advantage of playing something like Rose Tower here, right? Like if you Genesect into a Rose Tower, you're like, oh, 3 more cards. But if you get into that Tower of Darkness, you need a combo with another Tower of Darkness to see more cards. So this is really why... Oh, and they have a Boss Stall. Pedro with double Arceus down, Boss Stall on Genesect. So they're 100% reliant on... what's it called here? They're just reliant on the Arceus V-Star next turn. And no energy in play as well for Pedro. So Pedro had a really bad turn 1 here. Quick ball, Boss, Stall the Genesect. Here's the tablet. Here's the Boss. This Genesect for 4 is going to be huge for Fabrizio. 2, 3, 4. Let's see what it is. I see a Battle VIP pass. I see a Judge. I don't see much else. They got the Genesect. Oh, is that a Cram-O-Matic? No, it's Tower of Darkness. 3 more. There's a Cram-O-Matic. But they need a VMAX as well. They have the Cram to get rid of the Battle VIP pass, but past that, do they have anything? Here we go. This is a huge Cram. I can't tell what it was. Oh. It's the heads. But is this enough to actually string together to get the attack? They got the switch. I don't know if they have the VMAX, though. I mean, if they had the VMAX, they're chilling. Okay, they might have the VMAX there. They might have the VMAX in that hand. I think I see the VMAX there. So they're chilling then. They are big chilling here for Fabrizio. It's looking good. Is it really like, and Pedro, the chance of Pedro having a good response to this and setting up is just really low. There's the Mew. Here's the Switch. They got the VMAX. Okay, I didn't see it in the hand initially. I was like, I don't think it's there. It is there. They got the Jammer as well. They could throw it all down. And then Techno Blast, knock out the Arceus. Zigzagoon send up. That's not a good sign from Pedro that they're sending up the Zigzagoon here. And the Moltres V is prize. So, like, the response to this play wants to be attack with Moltres V a lot of the time. You don't have to. But especially when they have the... especially when they have the Echoing Horn and everything, like, that usually wants to be your play here. So Evolution Incense from Pedro. They top decked energy there, it looks like, from Pedro. They can pull off the Raihan to attack with Arceus this turn. But I don't know if they want to. Like, you could attack with the Arceus here, but, like, what does that do for you? If you, like, you ideally want to attack with the Moltres V. Wait, is that a Research in the hand? Did they have a Research and an Energy last turn and didn't play one of them? It seems like you're severely limiting your options when you do that. Maybe they thought they for sure had the Raihan. No, but they don't have enough energy in play to, like, set up the Moltres V. Let's see if they take off this Starbirth here. Maybe they don't. Maybe that's not a Research in the hand. It looked like a Research in the hand, though. No, they're getting a Research now. It's not a Research. I don't know what it is. It's not a Research, though. But that means they're not attacking with Arceus this turn. That means they're not actually doing a relevant attack this turn, besides maybe Hoopa. Hoopa would not be terrible. Oh, it's a Training Court. Okay. Research plus the Moltres. Are they going to try and attack with Moltres this turn? Comes a Palpad. What can they even recover? Oh, it's a Boss, right? Okay. Boss for later. They're going to throw down the Moltres with one energy. They're trying to get the Choice Belt on it, it looks like. Training Court over the Tower of Darkness. So Pedro's not attacking on this turn. So this actually lines up the prize trade for Fabrizio in the ideal way. So now Fabrizio can go KO one prizer, Meloetta KO one prizer, and then one hit KO that Arceus to close out the game. They will need quite a few tablets and stuff like that, but this lines up the prize trade exactly the way Fabrizio wants it. And Fabrizio still has that Echoing Horn, so they could still make it easier on themselves and Echoing Horn a Moltres or an Arceus V into play, and then that becomes an easier KO. So everything's lining up pretty well here for Fabrizio. Could even do some, like, weird Psychic Leap plays if they want to avoid VMAXs getting KO'd as well at some point, but probably won't see anything like that. Grabs the Dark Energy off the Energy Search. Quick Balls it away. They can Training Court it back into the hand if they want to. Like I said, they could hit. You could hit with Hoopa here. And that would be relevant to set up the Moltres. No, it doesn't really change anything about the Moltres, right? Yeah, I guess it doesn't change anything for the Moltres. Just because of Sobble. Yeah, I think you're just leaving Goon in the active and passing basically here as Pedro. The Goon can actually be super clutch though, actually, because once Fabrizio has drawn 2 prize cards, if they have a DTE on their Mew, you can go Moltres, Choice Belt, Triple Energy, Goon Ping knockout. I just realized that the Goon can be super big. Oh, and actually, for Pedro could have got close. Did actually end up getting close to that, right? Yeah, so you can actually one-hit KO the Mew with just 2 prize cards taken. That's actually huge with the baby Moltres. You appreciate that Prime sub there, Hemslow. Welcome to the Red Pack. We're out of clouds, but we got plenty of garden gnomes. There's a Training Court for the energy to the Moltres, but then it's going to be a pass from there. And boss KO on the Moltres would actually be a pretty big deal, I feel like, for if Fabrizio can pull that off, because it would just, like, potentially set Pedro back from even being able to take a knockout on the Mew next turn. Obviously, like, a Clara play could happen, but it would have to happen. I do see the Sparkle there, so we could just see the Sparkle come out here from Fabrizio and then just attack with the Mew. I actually wouldn't hate to see that. They could go Fusion Strike Energy as well and then boss KO the Moltres. With the Meloetta as well, and just not get the Mew in the active. And that means if they have to Clara, they actually can't KO the Mew for the turn, which would be a pretty big deal. Or could be a pretty big deal. So I think that's what we'll probably see Fabrizio go with here. is probably just get that Fusion Strike energy off that Rotom Phone. They got a Genesect in the hand as well. They did draw into one of the Genesects off the prize cards here. First Genesect coming down for, it looks like 4. They got that Fusion Strike energy, so they'll be able to KO the Moltres if they can find a boss. If they want to go for the boss play, which I assume they probably do. But KOing the Goon here wouldn't have been terrible either, to be honest. Like, you set up the prize trade no matter what. And getting double Fusion Strike energy on your other Mew is also really good as well. But you can look for that next turn. There's a Tower of Darkness. They do have the Elsa Sparkle in the hand. They could go for that play now and set up all the Fusion Strike energy into play. If that one came off the prize cards, I think there was maybe one prize. I don't really remember. But it looks like they're eyeing up the Quick Ball to get rid of the Sparkle. I think Fabrizio sees that they win the prize trade here, but you might whiff the KO on the Arceus. That's what you have to think about here. It's like you're trying to set up yourself as well as possible for that KO on the Arceus. So I think Fabrizio, that's what Fabrizio is looking at here. It's like, okay, I don't want to whiff this KO on that Arceus. So how do I set myself up best to get as many tablets or the double tablet plus choice belt? I need to do 300 damage to that Arceus. There's the choice belt in there. Yeah. Can you get that on in 2 turns from here? That's what you're trying to set up for. Because the knockout on this Zigzagoon is easy. The knockout on, something next turn with a Mew is pretty easy. So how do we get that big one-hit KO on that Arceus? That's what Fabrizio's thinking about here. How do I get that big one-hit KO on that Arceus? How do I set myself up best to get there? All these other knockouts are easy, right? This Meloetta can KO the Zigzagoon. Sure, if you get the boss, it's great. I would have hated to see Fabrizio quick ball for something and then ultra ball that away with the judge. So Fabrizio playing super safe here when I don't think you really need to. I think you can kind of like almost overextend for that play. There's the kind of the tablet choice ball play as long as all the tablets are in the deck, or as you have enough tablets in the deck. I think we could have seen Fabrizio be a little bit more aggressive with that ultra ball, like quick ball for Oricorio, ultra ball away Oricorio, and the judge. But Fabrizio holding on to the judge here just in case something goes weird. I think Fabrizio's just like, well, something weird could happen. Or I think a play that Fabrizio could be looking for is next turn you play the judge, and it might make them whiff that next what's it called? Here we go, Tower of Darkness. So I think Fabrizio is looking for this boss play on Moltres to force Pedro into the Clara return. Because what Fabrizio wants to avoid here is double Moltres in play. So you have a turn where you can actually maybe pull off the judge. Is what Fabrizio can set up here, is a turn where you can actually maybe pull off the judge. And have it like stick for a turn and like potentially give yourself a turn in case you whiff. So Fabrizio doesn't want Pedro to be able to set up double Baby Moltres next turn, and you avoid that if you KO the Baby Moltres this turn, because then you basically force them into a Clara next turn, most likely, and then they only have one Baby Moltres in play, and then you can go judge KO the Baby Moltres, and then maybe they whiff the KO on the Mew VMAX that turn, and then you get like +1 turn to play the game. But it looks like that is a whiff on the boss here for Fabrizio. On the Rotom Foam. They can still draw into it once the deck shuffles, but I just want to put the Ultra Ball on top to thin out the deck. Guaranteed thin out the deck. Thinking about that DTE, though, it looks like. DTE wouldn't be a bad grab either. But the Ultra Ball guarantees to thin out the deck, and you can just find anything. Because you don't know if you need DTE next turn or the turn after, but Ultra Ball will make sure you always have like a clean hand to work with for sure. There we go. And drawing pretty well here from Fabrizio in general, so should be able to play towards that tablet play. The only way I see it whiffing here for Fabrizio, and they whiffed the boss. The only way I see Fabrizio whiffing here is if they don't get... if they have too many tablet prized, would be the only thing I can think about where they would whiff this knockout on this Arceus. Has an escape rope in hand, but really can't afford to play that right now. They would send up the... Because then Pedro could send up the Arceus and be like, you don't have it. And then Fabrizio would be like, you're right, I don't have it. And because they don't have it. And then Pedro could kind of call their bluff on having it. So you can't, it's not worth it to risk the escape rope when you have game set up on board, basically. And all you have to do is not evolve to the second Mew VMAX, because then you could actually lose the game as well, especially now that you're not knocking out the Moltres. Otherwise, you could evolve here to the other Mew VMAX. And I think Fabrizio has only burned one tablet as well. I think there is one prized. Oh, and it hasn't even played a supporter yet, so it still gets to play this Elsa Sparkle and can get one of these two Fusion Strike energy and put it on this Mew. And it shouldn't mess with the math at all either way, I don't think, because if you have DTE, if you have two Fusion Strike energy, you still need triple modifier, and if you have DTE and play triple modifier, you're doing 280 anyways, you're doing 300 minus 20, so DTE versus double Fusion Strike energy doesn't really matter, but it does get this Fusion Strike energy into play, so now the second Mew can be set up with the Fusion Strike energy. The only other play we could have seen here from Fabrizio could have been to put the Force Fusion Strike energy in play. I wouldn't have hated to see that, to be honest. I think for putting that Force Fusion Strike energy in play would have been fine. Now for Pedro, you kind of have to, and this is why I actually would have liked to see the Force Fusion Strike energy. I guess it doesn't matter too much. It only plays into the if Pedro misplays. So Pedro could misplay here and go chase Mew VMAX. And if Pedro does do that, then it's easy for Fabrizio to get that KO on that Arceus. So we don't want to see boss grabbed here from Pedro. And I see Pedro eyeing up that boss, but actually boss KO Mew VMAX is a mistake here from Pedro. Take the knockout on the active, ideally with Hoopa, and then save your bird for later is what we want to see here from Pedro. You just boss KO Mew VMAX is just a mistake here. It plays into the Judge from Fabrizio. It plays into the Quad Fusion Strike energy, boss KO Arceus. You have to KO this Meloetta here. You just have to. Like, you have to like be respect. You have to respect Pedro, or Pedro has to respect Fabrizio in this situation and be like, okay, you're smart. I know you're going to make the right play. So I'm going to KO the Meloetta because then that becomes the optimal thing to KO. Ideally with a Hoopa, like I said. So you can save your Moltres on the bench again. And then keep it around. And then you have to make sure you fill your bench here as Pedro as well to prevent Echoing Horn from happening. Or play the Clara if there is a Arceus V in the bench. Nobody's going with the attached boss. Oh, I really don't like this play. Did they have a choice? I think they did have a choice here. I really don't like this play here from Pedro. This is a big mistake here from Pedro. Maybe they didn't. They had another play though, right? They could have level balled for Drizzile. Were they out of Drizzile? Did they really not have another option here? Yeah, so now Fabrizio basically just wins the game. It makes it easier for Fabrizio to win the game. And this is actually why I wanted to see Fabrizio put the Fourth Fusion Strike energy in play. So now it's easier for Fabrizio. Fabrizio got another route to win the game now. Fabrizio now can go Quad Fusion Strike energy, boss KO Arceus, and then literally just can't lose. Yeah, definitely a mistake there from Pedro. Like, you have to KO the Fusion Strike energy there. And it's not guaranteed that Fabrizio will actually get that play off. And this is why I actually would have liked to have seen that Fusion Strike energy come into play here from Fabrizio. Because if your opponent makes that mistake, you kind of punish them. But it's also more so like you just don't need the out to double Fusion Strike energy on Mew. Double Fusion Strike energy on Mew doesn't do anything. And you have 2 DTE left. So when you go all out on your last turn to try and KO the Arceus, you're going to find one of those 2 DTE anyway. So it was a mistake there from Fabrizio to not put that Fourth Fusion Strike energy in play, I think. Maybe he was thinking a little bit deeper than that. Maybe he was baiting. The only other play I can see there from Fabrizio was, I'm going to bait my opponent here. Which I think is reasonable in some scenarios, and be like, if I put the Fourth Fusion Strike energy in play, they always KO my Meloetta. But if I don't put it in play, then they might misplay, and now I can go find it and have that extra option. Because you don't have to take this KO here as Fabrizio with the Fourth Fusion Strike energy. You just want to. So I'd like to see the escape rope from Fabrizio come down here, and then just start drawing with Genesect. I think Fabrizio is debating playing the boss right now. Also, I think maybe a mistake from Fabrizio last turn. They're out of Pokemon. Fabrizio is out of basic Pokemon here. So they can't draw as many with Genesect. Oh, not 2, just 1. Oh, okay. I would have liked to have seen him play the escape rope though, because you can always boss around if Pedro sends up the Arceus, you can always boss around it. So I think it's a mistake from Fabrizio to not play the escape rope here. I think they had the escape rope in hand. They should have just opened up with escape rope. I think what Fabrizio is thinking is maybe no, because they discarded the Judge with the Ultra Ball, right? I think they discarded the Judge with the Ultra Ball. And so Fabrizio made a mistake in the last turn when they Ultra Balled away 2 Pokemon instead of Ultra Balling away the Judge as well. Like, should have just given up the Judge. You don't need the Judge anymore. And now they're going to be drawing less with their Genesect. That's something that I see a lot of Mew players forget about. It's just like, you want to discard your Pokemon, but you have to remember your opponent's taking knockouts, and you want to still be drawing 6 with your Pokemon as well. So we're going to see the switch into Escape Rope now from Fabrizio. But the draw is going to get harder and harder here from Fabrizio. DTE to the Genesect. So giving up. Is that maybe not an escape rope? I'm maybe not seeing an escape rope there, to be honest. DTE to Genesect. So Fabrizio is giving up on... No, they had a Mew left. Wait, didn't they Ultra Ball and not grab Mew? Am I losing my mind? I swear Fabrizio just played an Ultra Ball at the beginning of the turn and then didn't grab a basic. I'm pretty sure that... so I think Fabrizio went to draw 2 cards and then was like, wait a second, I have 5. So I think Fabrizio thought they had 6 Pokemon in play. And that's why they went to draw 2, and they were like, wait a second, I have 5, I only draw 1. So big mistake there from Fabrizio, big mistake. They do have the escape rope. And now they're not playing for the boss KO and the Arceus. All right, so Fabrizio is making all kinds of mistakes here. We should have said the escape rope played immediately. Don't play the DTE. You can still boss. What if you draw into this Fusion Strike energy? Your KO on the Arceus becomes so much harder next turn if you play for the Choice Belt double tablet boss play. So Fabrizio was like, basically when they attach a DT, they're locking in this Meloetta KO on the active for sure. But now next turn, they have to reach through their whole deck to find the KO Fabrizio has to reach through the whole deck there to find the KO on this Arceus V-Star. They have to find the choice belt. Yeah, they do have the horn in play, but Pedro's going to bench something here. Pedro knows about the horn. Pedro's going to bench something, or they're going to Clara the Arceus V from the discard pile back into the hand. Like, there's no way. I think no boss in the deck. No, they have 3 boss left. Fabrizio has all their boss left. They literally have a boss in their hand. They've had a boss in their hand since the beginning of the turn. Oh my gosh, it is a draw pass from Pedro. Holy moly. Yeah, why did it... That was such a weird play last turn from Pedro to not level ball for the, like, a Drizzile. Did they not have any... Did Pedro not have a Drizzile in deck on that last turn when they went level ball for Sobble? And that's going to be game. Now Fabrizio definitely wins the game. They have boss Mew VMAX plus DTE. And this one should just be about over. I think some pretty major mistakes from both players in this one, but we do end up seeing here. Let's see if there was a Drizzile in the deck. This will tell us how bad that misplay could have been from Pedro on the previous turn. If there's no Drizzile, though, then Pedro was kind of stuck with that boss KO on the Mew VMAX, I feel like, if there was no Drizzile in the deck. But if there was a Drizzile in here, Pedro should have looked for, like, any other play besides boss KO Mew VMAX. Not respecting... That's one of those situations where I feel like Pedro was, like, thinking, oh, if they put another Mew VMAX in play, I can maybe KO it. And I feel like Pedro was not respecting their opponent in that situation, but Fabrizio has played really well and really clean up to this point. There's the Drizzile now, so we know it was in the deck previously. So definitely a pretty big mistake from Pedro on that 2 turns ago now, when they went with that boss KO. They could have gone just like Drizzile for like a Research or a Marnie or something, right? Or anything else. They could have gone with like Raihan to the Moltres, get B-Barrel for 5. Because I don't think the B-Barrel is prized. It's the energy on the Arceus with the Raihan, and then not sure what that card is, but I'm sure we'll see in just a second. Yeah, I guess the energy has a Sobble in hand, I think. Yeah, not gonna bench. You should bench a Sobble here though, because your opponent knows you have it, but maybe you want the out for an Ultra Ball, I guess. Yeah, you want it out for an Ultra Ball. Loads up the fighting energy, and that should be it. Fabrizio should have boss DTE Mew VMAX in the hand. Actually, Fabrizio needs to find the DTE. And it was weird that Fabrizio attached... So Fabrizio made another misplay in attaching the DTE to the Genesect. So that was back and forth. But Fabrizio gets the dub here in top 8, 2-1 over Pedro. We'll be moving on to top 4 soon.